Hello, my name is Sierra and I'm very eager to be with you today. The purpose of this video is for me to impress upon you the knowledge of a transaction processing system known as an ATM. Specifically, I will be focusing on the internal IT processes that causes this machine to be the working convenience that it is. But let's first discuss what a transaction is and what a transaction processing system does. So a transaction is any business event that generates data worthy of being captured and stored in a database. A transaction processing system supports the monitoring, collection, storage, and processing of data from the organization's basic business transaction, each of which generates data. So the most important key function is that we are thinking and talking about the transportation of data. And that is exactly what an ATM does. An ATM is known as an automated teller machine, and its job is to do the function of a live person. It collects data and sends it to the correct location. In other words, the user must input information into the ATM for it to be processed. Once the information is processed, the data is sent to the bank of the user's choice. However, there are 3 stops that this data has to make. So kind of think about this data being on a train, and there's 3 important stops, but it also has to go back. So it's not one-way direction when we're talking about this train. There are 3 separate devices that work together in order to transfer the data, and it starts by the user who is at the ATM. Once the ATM is activated, it undergoes a protocol. And there are 5 steps to this protocol that we'll talk about before we get into the devices, the 3 devices that will be activated. So the first protocol of the ATM is to validate the card, not specifically the user. So we want to be careful with the information who we allow to have our card. And it does that by accepting the card or not accepting the card. If it accepts the card, it validates the card. Number 2 is to read the encrypted code on the back of the card. You read the encrypted code on the back of the card, then it has information in it that will tell the ATM if it's a valid card or not. Third is to validate the user. The user will be validating this card by impressing that it is locked with a password PIN. And once they put that PIN in, if it is the correct PIN, it will again validate that card and that person. Not the most secure way, so protect your password and your PINs. Then it will make the step 4 is to make the proper connection to the host computer and await for the data to process. Now we're talking. But before we get started into that, let's get into the final step, which is to process the data from the host computer and allow the user to receive cash. Now, let's talk about that internal kind of train ride that we have to take in order for the IT processes to allow the user to get that cash. First, the ATM, like I said, is activated. It goes through all of those protocols in order to verify the card, the user, and the information. That information or data is then sent to a host computer. A host computer then does the same kind of validation protocols, and it sends its data saying, yep, we got it, to the to the bank computer. The bank computer then validates and says, yep, this is good information. It sends its okay back to the host computer, which then sends it back to the ATM, which then dispenses the cash to the user. I hope that this was very detailed and informative for you. I appreciate your time, and I hope to hear from you in the future. I also have attached to this link a reference. I do have my references, and it is in a Word document with the link to this video. Thank you.